Bridges, section 8.5, applications of quadratic equations. All right. So basically, these are going to be problems, word problems essentially, that are going to have to be solved using quadratic equations. So let's say that we have a picture. It's bald, so it must be me. All right, so a picture is 6 inches taller than it is wide. Its area is 216 square inches. Find its dimensions. All right. So what we can do with this is we can label this picture. So this can be the width and this can be the length. Now the special thing about it is 6 inches taller than it is wide. So I know that this length is equal to W plus 6. Because that's what makes it 6 inches taller That's what makes it 6 inches taller than the width. To change the color on this magic pen. Yellow. Now everybody should know how to compute the area of a shape like this. It's a rectangle. So area equals length times width. And what we can do is we can plug in this W plus 6 in for L right here. So then this becomes area equals W plus 6 times W. And in fact, we can plug in this 216 for area as well. And we can distribute this W here, which would give us 216 equals W squared plus 6W. Now, this is quadratic, so you would need to solve it. And what you would need to solve it with, you could use factoring. Whenever you factor, you want to get it equal to 0. And then you look at what multiplies to give you negative 216, but adds to give you 6. That happens to be 18 and negative 12. So then from here, you have W equals negative 18 or W equals 12. The question is, which one of those solutions has meaning? Which one is valid? Well, this is a real-world example. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever for negative 18 to be the width. How could you have a negative width of a picture? I mean, it's not a portal to another dimension, so I'm pretty sure that one doesn't work. So what that means is that you have W equals 12. And if W is 12, then the length is 12 plus 6, because it's W plus 6. So this would be and 12 plus 6 is 18, so this is 18 inches by 12 inches. You got the length, and you've got the width. So let's talk about interest. This is the kind of interest you earn on an investment. So, here's a formula for you. This is a bit more simplified than it usually is, but this formula is what we're going to start off with. A equals P times 1 plus R to the teeth. Now let's understand what this stuff means. A is your accumulated amount. That's the amount after a certain period of time has passed. P is what's called your principal. That's your starting amount. R is your interest rate. But it has to be expressed as a decimal. For instance, if you had 6% interest, that would be represented by 0.06. And T is time in years. Okay. So let's say that we start off with $6,000. And let's say that after 2 years' time, that $6,000 grows to $6,933.75. What is the interest rate? Well, you have to figure out where to put these numbers in this equation right here, this formula. This formula right here. The thing kids tend to have a hard time with would be the difference between the accumulated amount and the principal. Well, the principal is the amount you start with, so that would be this $6,000 right here. And the accumulated amount would be the amount after a certain amount of time. Well, I said amount a lot. But anyway, that would be that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the formula. A equals P times 1 plus R to the teeth. 6933.75 equals 6,000 times 1 plus R, and since t is 2, that's squared, which is what makes this quadratic. So what I can do is I can isolate this thing that's squared and then take the square root. In order to do that, I got to get rid of the 6,000. So we can divide by 6,000 on both sides. I don't know what that is offhand, so I'm going to use a calculator. It's kind of in the way, isn't it? So, 6933.75 divided by 6,000 gives me this number. That would be 1.155625 equals 1 plus R squared. We take the square root of both sides. Square root. This is 1.075 equals 1 plus R. Now notice I didn't take a plus or minus here because it wouldn't make sense for this to be negative since we're trying to gain money, or we are gaining money here, we're not losing it. The only other thing you have to do is subtract 1. So 0.075 equals R. And as an interest rate, we usually express that as a decimal. So you move the decimal place twice, and that would be 7.5% interest. We'll make another video for the last example. See you there.